Hey there, ready to make your academic arguments really land with impact? Well, today we're going to dive into one of the most powerful tools in your writing toolkit, mastering the language of cause and effect. This is seriously the secret sauce for taking your writing from just okay to truly analytical.
You know that feeling? When you've written something and it describes things perfectly, but it's just missing that analytical punch. You want to go beyond just listing facts and actually build an argument that convinces people? Well, if that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. So what's the secret? It's all about mastering the language of cause and effect. Honestly, this is the skill that takes you from just describing stuff to actually building a powerful academic argument. It shows you don't just see the individual facts, you see the web connecting them. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. At the university level, it's just not enough to state what happened. The real challenge, the real meat of the work is explaining why. Your job is to be more than a reporter. You've got to be a detective, uncovering the relationships between the facts. And this applies everywhere. I mean, everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're studying climate change, the economy, or even educational psychology. You're always trying to figure out the why behind the what. All right, so let's break this down into two simple patterns. We'll start with pattern one, which is probably the most straightforward way to do this. It's super logical. You start with the cause, the thing that made something happen, and you follow it up with the result, or the effect. The structure is exactly what you'd expect. Cause leads straight to effect. Think of it like a one-way street, pointing from the why to the what. Let's look at how this works in practice. Now, to connect the cause and the effect, you need some key words. Think of them as the glue. Words like because, since, and as are perfect for setting up the cause. And then you have words like therefore and consequently. These are your signposts that the effect is coming right up. Okay, let's start super simple, just to see it in action. Because the weather was cold, energy use increased. See? Cause, cold weather. Effect, more energy used. It's a clean, direct line from A to B. No confusion there. All right, let's level this up to something a bit more academic. As internet access expanded, online learning became more common. It's the exact same logic. The cause, expanding internet access. The effect, more online learning. This simple pattern is incredibly powerful, even for big, complex ideas. Okay, but what if you want to switch things up? What if you want to lead with the result? Well, that's where pattern two comes in, and it basically flips the whole thing on its head. You kick things off with the effect, the outcome, and then you circle back to explain why it happened. So yeah, the structure is just reversed. Effect first, then the cause. And this is a really powerful move, especially when you want to hit your reader with an important finding right at the start of the sentence. To make this work, you'll need a different set of tools, some different connecting phrases. Because of, due to, as a result of, these are your best friends for this pattern. And trust me, these are absolute staples in academic writing. Let's go back to a simple example. Traffic increased because the highway was closed. See how that works? We're leading with the big news, the traffic jam, and then explaining why it happened. It puts the immediate problem right up front. And for an academic example, public health outcomes improved due to expanded vaccination programs. The big news, the effect, is that public health got better. And why did it get better? Because of vaccination programs. It immediately tells you the successful outcome before digging into the cause. Okay, so now we have two perfectly valid patterns. So how do you pick which one to use? Well, it all comes down to one word, emphasis. What do you want your reader to notice first? Just look at these two sentences right here. They have the exact same facts, right? But they don't feel the same at all. In the first one, we're focused on the city's action, the investment. In the second, we're focused on the result, less traffic. And this is so important. Your choice of pattern isn't just grammar. It's a tool for controlling where your reader puts their attention. So, knowing the patterns is a huge first step. But now, let's talk about leveling up. How to go from good to great, and avoid a few common traps that can make your writing a little weaker. So, what are these traps? Well, the biggest one is probably just using the word because over and over and over again. It's not that it's wrong, but it can make your writing feel a little, well, repetitive and basic. Also, you want to make sure your tone stays academic and that the link between your cause and effect is always super clear.
So instead of getting stuck in a because rut, it's time to expand your vocabulary, bringing in phrases like due to or words like consequently and thus will instantly make your writing sound more sophisticated, more precise, and frankly, more academic.
Okay, let's do a quick recap just to make sure these two patterns are crystal clear. So, pattern 1, remember, it's cause leads to effect. For example, because internet access expanded, online education became more accessible. This is your classic A to B structure. Super direct, super logical. And then there's pattern 2, effect first, then the cause. Same idea, flipped around, online education became more accessible because internet access expanded. You use this one when you want to lead with the big news, the big result, and then explain how we got there. And this quote really sums it all up perfectly. Your job as an academic writer isn't just to be a reporter who describes what's happening. It's to be an analyst, a detective who explains the why behind it all. So the next time you sit down to write, don't just let your sentences fall onto the page. Be intentional. Think about these two patterns. Which one will you use? How can you use it to guide your reader's focus and build a stronger, more powerful, and way more analytical argument?